Have you ever expected an incredible gift? You know how it is, they drop hints, they ask about your favorite designer, your favorite restaurant. You just know that you're gonna get an amazing jacket or a stunning piece of jewelry or a massive gift card. When they hand you the package, you can't wait to open it. Then, instead of the incredible gift that you knew was coming, it's lame. They got you a framed photo of themselves or a scented candle that smells like bacon. Now, we laugh at gifts, but life's letdowns happen. And often, they happen when you least expect it. Someone you cared about, someone you invested in, did or said something that left you disappointed and let down. Your coworker took the credit for your part in the project. Your employee lied to you. Your boss stole money that should have gone to other people in the company. You told someone you love a tough truth, and instead of them being thankful, they made you the enemy. Someone you coached or mentored walked away from God and returned to their old life. Your kids snuck around doing things they knew were wrong. Your spouse had an affair. Maybe you had a pastor or a spiritual leader fail. Being let down hurts. It isn't easy to deal with. Today we look at a man in the Bible who experienced an amazing letdown, Moses. Moses is a Bible character that most people know about, even people who don't go to church or haven't read the Bible. Moses performed amazing miracles, and the stories of his life are spectacular. Moses led the Israelites out of captivity. He parted the Red Sea, the plagues, some amazing stuff. Moses was the man. But even Moses, an amazing leader in the Bible, experienced a major disappointment, a colossal letdown. We pick up the story in Exodus chapter 32. Moses left the Israelites at camp and he went up to Mount Sinai to spend some time with God alone. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down the mountain. Now, for perspective, Moses was gone for about 40 days. The Israelites were getting impatient. And I get it. If Pastor Rod disappeared on a mountain for 40 days, you'd probably start asking some questions. They gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him." 40 days. 40 days was all it took for the Israelites to forget everything that God had done for them. 40 days. And they were ready to give up on God. They said, "As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt," how quickly they forgot. It's not right. It's not fair. But people move on pretty quick. In this case, the Israelites were absolute morons. They were in captivity for 430 years before Moses led them to freedom. And now, after just over a month, they were done. God was just taking way too long. A month is way too long to wait for a word from God. You're not like that, are you? You've been praying for a spouse. You've been praying for healing, for your kid to come back to God. You're waiting for your house to sell. You've filled out 30 applications. But God, you're just taking too long. Now, Aaron's response should have been, "You people need to calm down. Chill out. Moses is going to come back. Don't give up yet. Have you forgotten all that God has done for us through Moses?" That's what he should have said. But instead, Aaron answered them, "Take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me." So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they had handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." So the next day, the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterward, they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry, or it's extreme partying. They decided to turn their backs on God and worship a cow. Instead of God, who brought them up out of Egypt, a cow. Instead of God, who parted the Red Sea, a cow. Instead of God, who brought the plagues on Egypt so they could be free, a cow. Now, worshiping any animal is very bizarre, but a cow. That's what they chose? A cow? Now, this is all going on while Moses is on the mountain with God. Moses had no idea what's going on. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go down, because your people, whom you brought up out of Egypt, have become corrupt." Now, wait a second. Moses' people? I thought they were God's people, God's chosen people. Not anymore. God was so mad, he gave the people back to Moses. God said, "No, not a chance. You take them. I don't want them. They're corrupt. Moses, they're your people." And I think every parent identifies with this. I don't know how many times my mom called my dad after a rough day at school and said, "Just wait until you hear what your son did." When I was bad, I was my dad's son. Now, the few times I was a perfect angel, my mom was more than willing to claim me. And then God continued, "They have been quick to turn away from what I have commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf." A cow, Moses. They are worshiping a cow. Your people are worshiping a cow. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." I have seen these people, and they are a stiff-necked people. In other words, they are selfish, stubborn morons. Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them and I may destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord his God. Moses learned the Israelites, that the people that he had led out of Egypt, who followed him through the parted Red Sea, turned his back on him and God. Moses didn't do what you expect. If I was Moses, I would have been furious. I would have taken off in a dead sprint to the bottom of the mountain, and I would have yelled at the Israelites. I would have scolded them. I would have made sure they felt horrible for what they had done. I would have said, "You people are idiots. After all God has done for you, a cow? What in the world are you thinking? What is the matter with you? And by the way, your stupid statue doesn't even look like a cow. It looks like a preschooler's art project that their mom wouldn't even be proud of. This is pathetic." But Moses didn't do that. Moses didn't rant and rave at the people. His first reaction when he heard what the people had done was to talk to God. When people let you down, go to God first. That's not your natural first response. You talk to other people. You won't believe what Tim said. You post on social media. "I expected better of Jordan. Let me tell you all about what he did." You get mad and you give them a piece of your mind. The people of Israel turned their backs on God and let Moses down. In response, Moses prayed. Moses had been praying for 40 days. Don't you think Moses had already done enough praying at this point? But Moses prayed again. "Oh Lord, why should your anger burn against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with a great power and a mighty hand?" Moses said, "God, they're not mine. They're yours. These are your people. And we would all do well to remember that people ultimately belong to God. He made them. They are his. And remembering that might help us react to them the way Moses did, with compassion. Why should the Egyptians say it was with evil intent that he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains and to wipe them off the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger, relent, and do not bring disaster on your people. Moses could have let God destroy the people, but instead he chose to pray God spare them. If God gave you the option, what would you choose? They let you down, they made you mad. Let's see, destroy them or spare them? God, send the lightning, just bring it on down and that'll be just fine. You see, when people let you down, your natural reaction is not to care about their well-being. Because you are suffering, you think they should. Let God destroy them. They're just getting what they deserve. Instead of praying, God get them, pray for them. Pray for them instead of against them. Pray God will help and bless them. It's not easy, but it's right. I know you're hurt. I know you're disappointed. So was Moses. Moses had every right to give up on the Israelites, but he didn't. Moses didn't say, you know what, God, you're right. Just destroy them. In fact, if you could take out Aaron first, that'd be great, God. Moses didn't give up on the Israelites. And just like Moses, when people let you down, don't give up. Just because you are hurt and disappointed doesn't mean it's time to give up. Moses continued with his prayer. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, to whom you swore by your own self. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give your descendants all this land I promised them, and it will be their inheritance forever. Then the Lord relented and did not bring on his people the disaster that he had threatened. Moses started talking to God about all of his promises. And God didn't forget. That's not what this is about. Instead, Moses was reminding himself of the promises God made. When you get let down, when people disappoint you, remember God's promises. Your faith isn't in people. Your faith and your hope and your trust is in the Lord. And you find God's promises in the Bible, in his word. And if you don't have a Bible, I encourage you, take one from under the chair in front of you. And if there's not one there, find us afterwards. We'll give you a Bible as our gift to you. Don't forget the promises that God made you in his word. Listen, your hurt feelings and your wounded pride don't change God's word or God's promises. We spent an entire year as a church family looking at God's promises. And I encourage you to go back and watch that series. It's called God's Promises. You can watch it on our website or the First and Our YouTube channel and learn God's promises. Instead of focusing on the hurt, Moses remained focused on his assignment from God. Moses had a purpose and a mission to lead the people of Israel to the promised land. Moses had every right to be mad, hurt, and disappointed. But Moses didn't let that keep him from his purpose, the assignment that he had been given from God. When someone lets you down, don't focus on the offense. Instead, refocus on your purpose. Choose to make your purpose more important than your offense. Don't let disappointment move you off mission. How you feel doesn't change your assignment. God still has a plan and a purpose for you. Get back to it. Moses turned and went down the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. The tablets were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God, engraved on the tablets. God put his finger down and wrote on rock. These pieces of stone were touched and written on by the God of the universe. What a moment. Now, there's some signings that we make a big deal out of. When a star athlete signs a new contract, it's all over the news. When you sign your marriage license, when you sign the mortgage on your first house, an autograph from your favorite athlete or singer. This was the finger of God writing on these stones. God had personally written his expectations down for his people. If I had rocks written on by God, I would put them in a very safe place. I would set alarms so no one could steal God's writing. I would protect them. I would keep them safe. I would frame them. Now, when people ask my dad to sign his book for them, I always laugh. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my dad. I love his books. I think those things are wonderful. He says good stuff in them. But his signature is not worth very much. But God's autograph, that's a big deal. And when Joshua heard the sound of people shouting, he said to Moses, "There's sound of war in the camp." Moses replied, "It's not the sound of victory. It's not the sound of defeat. It's the sound of singing that I hear." When Moses approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, his anger burned and he threw the tablets out of his hands, breaking them to pieces at the foot of the mountain. Until that moment, Moses was calm and handled everything the right way, but not anymore. Moses lost his temper, and in a fit of rage, he destroyed the 10 Commandments. It's not like Moses got mad and punched a wall or called the Israelites a mean name. He let his anger take over, and he destroyed something that God created and gave. When people let you down, don't lose your temper. When you lose your temper, you destroy things and relationships that are precious. You do and say things that you will forever regret. You cause damage and hurt to those that you love. When you lose your temper, you always lose. Not only did Moses destroy the 10 Commandments, his temper tantrum continued. He took the calf they had made and burned it in the fire. Then he ground it into powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. Now don't miss this part. The Israelites are worshiping a cow statue they made, and Moses said, "Here's what I think of your little cow god." He melted it down and he made them drink their god. Now in some ways, now this is very humorous, but it wasn't funny then. Moses was mad. And you know what his temper tantrum didn't do? It didn't change what the people had done. No matter how mad you are, no matter how big of a temper tantrum you throw, it doesn't change what has happened. Your out of control anger doesn't fix the car. It doesn't get your kid home earlier. It doesn't bring your grades up. It doesn't change the political opinion of your Facebook friends. Just gonna let you hear that one a little bit. Doesn't change that your kid was out at second base. It doesn't make the temperature in the sanctuary any colder or any hotter. Doesn't put money back in your bank account. It doesn't rebuild trust. It doesn't make your internet any faster. Doesn't make others love you more. It certainly doesn't earn respect. It loses respect. Moses lost his temper. Don't lose yours. My dad taught me that people will never forget when you lose your temper. If you can't control your temper, it's a spiritual issue. This fruit of the Spirit of self-control is missing from your life, and you need to find it. Don't excuse it as weakness. Don't excuse it as a product of your upbringing. It destroys your witness, and it hurts people around you. Don't lose your temper. After Moses' little fit, he said to Aaron, "What did these people do to you that you led them into such great sin?" Moses didn't ask the Israelites what happened. He didn't go to Aaron's friends and ask them. He didn't go to his own friends and ask what went down. He went straight to Aaron and asked him. When someone lets you down, go to the person who let you down. talk to them. I do not understand people who don't talk to the person who let them down. I'm not sure why they think avoiding that is going to make things better. It won't. Talking to the person who let you down directly will always have better results than not. It's one of our core values. Resolve conflict biblically. This is a prime example of the correct way to handle conflict biblically. Confront the offender first. Don't talk to anyone else before you talk to the person you have a conflict with. Now to my favorite part of the story, because Aaron's reply is hilarious. Verse 22, do not be angry, my Lord. You know how prone these people are to evil. You've seen them, you've dealt with them. They're impossible. Think about it, Moses. I've had to put up with them for 40 whole days all by myself. And I just couldn't take it anymore. They said to me, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him. So I told them, whoever has any gold jewelry, take it off. Then they gave me the gold. I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. That's Aaron's explanation. I threw a bunch of jewelry into the fire, and poof, it's a cow. I wish you could have seen it, Moses. It was amazing. Surely he could have come up with a better lie than that. That's a terrible lie. But I want to jump ahead several chapters in the story because this sad, horrible story has a beautiful, stunning ending. The next time we hear about Aaron is in Exodus chapter 34. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of testimony in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. Aaron was afraid to be near Moses because he had come down from God's presence. And who could blame Aaron? The last time Moses came down from the mountain, it was pretty rough. Then the next time Aaron is mentioned is Exodus chapter 35, and this is where the story gets interesting. Moses is addressing the nation. It's time to build the tabernacle to the Lord, and he's enlisting help and support and giving instructions to the people. All who are skilled among you are to come and make everything the Lord has commanded. The tabernacle with its tent and its covering, the ark with its poles and the atonement cover and the curtain that shields it, the table, the lampstand, the altar of incense, curtain for the doorway at the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the bronze basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard, the tent pegs for the tabernacle and for the courtyard and their ropes, the woven garments worn for ministering in the sanctuary, both the sacred garments for Aaron the priest and the garments for his sons when they serve as priests. And I would have loved to be there. Moses is addressing the entire nation. He's giving instructions. He's enlisting workers. He's getting support. The whole speech was about stuff. No people were mentioned. At the end of his speech, Moses added one final thing. He said, we are going to make sacred garments for Aaron the priest and his sons who will be the priests. Why did Moses do it that way? Well, why didn't he take Aaron to the back room and say, hey, buddy, good news. New tabernacle's coming and we've got a job for you. It's going to be great. What was Moses doing? Remember, Aaron wasn't the only one singing and dancing around the golden calf. Moses was sending a message. He was letting people know, even though you failed God, God will remain faithful to you. You are not worthless. You still matter. You still have a part in his plan. He will still accept you into his presence. It's not over. We might not have done it. After all Aaron did, we might not be willing to restore him. Because what if he did it again? But thank God he's not like us. God wants to see you restored. Can you imagine that moment for Aaron? He had been disciplined in front of the entire nation, and now he was announced as a priest. I wonder if this was the first time the people had heard about it. I wonder if Aaron and his sons knew about the announcement. I don't know. Regardless, Aaron was publicly restored to ministry by Moses. And it wasn't just Moses restoring Aaron. God restored Aaron to a place of ministry and service. In chapter 40, God gave Moses instructions for worship in the temple. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance to the tent of meeting and wash them with water. Then dress Aaron in the sacred garments, anoint him, and consecrate him so he may serve me as priest. Aaron and his sons were among the privileged few allowed in the inner court, the Holy of Holies, to worship God. What an amazing picture of love, forgiveness, and restoration. Aaron, the guy who led the nation to worship a golden cow, was fully and completely restored to ministry. God gives second chances. He gave one to Aaron, and he gives one to you. When someone lets you down, don't put them down. Instead, practice loving restoration. Restoration is God's heart. God is not willing that any should perish.
When Jesus came, he confronted prejudice. In a time when women and children were considered unimportant, Jesus empowered them. Jesus loved the unlovable. He touched the untouchable. He defended the marginalized. Jesus shared meals with sinners. He had compassion for the sick and needy. Every person, regardless of their financial position or social stature, was loved and accepted by him. Jesus was and Jesus is for everyone. Every soul matters to God. And that's why every soul must matter to us. So if you're looking for a church where everyone is just like you, you're not going to be happy here. You'll likely end up sitting by someone of a different race, color, nationality, or religious background. If sitting in service next to a homeless person bothers you, prepare to be bothered. If investing time and money in students and children seems like a waste of time, you're going to be offended every week. If hearing the name of Jesus lifted high in other languages makes you uncomfortable, estarás muy incómodo aquí. Everyone is welcome here. Black, white, Latino, Asian, rich, poor, at the top of your game or down on your luck. Married families, empty nesters, single, divorced, young, old, anywhere in between, Republican, Democrat, independent. They all matter. They will all be represented in heaven, so it just makes sense that they're all represented here. Are you getting the picture? Every soul must matter to us because every soul matters to God.